Let's begin with Ondo Decides 2024 and what to expect. This Saturday, November 16, eligible voters in Ondo State will head to the polls to elect their next governor, choosing from 17 candidates, including incumbent Governor Lucky Ayeditiwa of the APC and former Deputy Governor Agbola Ajayi of the PDP, in a crucial election that will shape the state's future for the next 4 years at least. What are the issues driving the people's choice this time around? I have a panel of two ready and eager to dissect the issues. Dr. Gbenga Abimbola, former head of Department of Mass Communication, Adekunle Ajasin University, Akungba Akoko. He is also a dispassionate political analyst. Thank you so much for joining us on Inside, Dr. Abimbola.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine. Good morning, Nigerians.
Welcome to Inside, Doc. Franklin Olonuju is also here with us. He is the chairman, civil society organizations operating out of Akure there in Ondo State. Thank you so much, Franklin, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
Gentlemen, nice to have both of you here on the program. You know, even though this election has been tagged the battle of two former deputy governors, I think it goes beyond that. I think this is the first time, if I'm not mistaken, that major candidates in any governorship election in Ondo State will all come from one senatorial district. Again, we know that since 1999, no political party has ruled the state for more than 8 years at a stretch. But now it's looking like the APC is looking to break that. Dr. Abimbola, let's begin with you. Put all of that together and tell us how all of these elements, blend to make this particular election season a defining moment in the history of Ondo State.
Thank you very much. You recall that Ondo State is a unique state when it comes to elections. How do I mean? Ondo State has a convention that we respect. That is the convention of rotation. That is, among the 3 senatorial districts, power rotates. When we started in 1999, it was Chief Adebayo Adefarati of blessed memory from the north, and he contested for the second term, but he lost to a candidate from the south in Olusegun Agagu of the PDP in 2003. And when Olusegun Agagu contested for second term, he also lost to another candidate from the central in Olusegun Mimiko. He was the first to complete 2 terms in the last 25 years.
True.
And so by Olusegun Mimiko, the circle was complete and another round of rotation began. Recall that Olusegun Mimiko wanted to force a candidate from his senatorial zone in the name of Itayo Jegede from Akure, which is from the same central. But the people of Ondo State punished his party for that. And so power rotated to the north in Rotimi Akeredolu. Now Akeredolu, even before he died, he had always been singing it that he would support that a candidate, the next governor, should come from the south in the spirit of equity, justice, and fairness. And so that is why what we're having today, unfortunately, Akeredolu couldn't conclude his second term. He died in the process, but his deputy, who is luckily from the south, in Lucky Ayedatiwa, took over government. And so the party, his party, APC, has fielded in this election. The PDP has also fielded Agbola Ajayi from the same southern senatorial district. And if you look at other parties that have some molecules of influence, SDP, Labour Party, and all the rest, they also picked their candidates from the southern senatorial district. It goes on to show that any party that is ready to win election in Ondo State must respect the principle of rotation. That is one side. But this election now, the 2 dominant parties, the APC and the PDP, their candidates have some things in common, even though there are differences. And these things will play out in the election. One, they are both from the same senatorial zone, oil producing areas for that matter. Number 2, they both served as deputy to the late Akeredolu. Agbola Ajayi first served and Ayedatiwa served the second term. Number three, they both fell out with their principal in the long run. Recall that Agboola Ajayi, had a running battle with his principal.
And they both survived. They both survived impeachment.
Yes, that is number four. They both fell out with their principal, and number four, they both survived the impeachment plot. So that has placed. Placed them, or those have placed them at par. But
Dr. Abimbola.
Yes.
You've just thrown up a couple of issues. You talked about plenty of issues, as a matter of fact. I wonder if we have enough time to talk about the molecule of influence. You talked about the contending parties there. You raised the issue, like I alluded to earlier, about the tussle between these two former deputy governors. I would wonder where, it might be interesting to find out where the Akeredolu power dynasty stands in this tussle, but that's a talk for another time. Let me quickly go over to Franklin there. Dr. Abimbola talked about this seeming power zoning, arrangement, the one that has now shifted to Ondo South. I wonder how it factors as a determinant, not only for who is likely to win this election, but also as a political stabilization component for the Ondo State polity. Perhaps, he started from drawing the picture from 99, from Ade Ferrati's time, which, of course, Ondo North, to Akeredolu in 2017, also from Ondo North. I wonder if, having seen how it played out, this zoning arrangement, does it legitimize the clamor for power zoning to the south, now to the south? And would the emergence of any of the candidates from that zone in this election truly satisfy their taste for power, just in the interim, at least for now?
Thank you. I think from the analysis of Doctor, it kind of points out that the rotation of power, and based on your question, somehow brought stability to the agitation for power among the three geopolitical zones. Three senatorial zones in the state. And if you recall, prior to this, there has been a lot of agitations among the political gladiators.
I think we may have lost Franklin there for a minute. Hopefully we'll get him back soon, and then we can take his thoughts on that. Dr. Abimbola, even though there are other contenders in this election, you talked about them, and these are contenders that can hold their own, whether politically and even professionally, but then, like we all know, it has become increasingly obvious that this election is a two-horse race between Ayedatiwa of the APC and Ajayi of the PDP, who, incidentally, like we said, are both, were both deputy governors to the late Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. Or, you know what, come to think of it, maybe it's a three-horse race, because if you consider the fact that Olugbenga Edema of the NMPP isn't a write-off at all, do you think that is the case? Or is it okay to assume that other political parties have no structure to match the PDP or have no structure to unseat the APC? Can a party like the NMPP, for instance, be a spoiler in this election?
Well, thank you, Namdi. The question you asked, I will take you down the memory lane again. Let's go back to history. Two things make a party popular or a candidate popular. One, when a party can confer popularity on an obscure candidate, a candidate that is not popular. If his party is popular, he can confer status on that candidate, and his candidate will become popular. The other way around is that where a party is weak, is not popular, a candidate that is very popular, acceptable, can confer status on that party. It has happened in Ondo State. When Olusegun Mimiko, who was in PDP with his boss, Olusegun Agagu, when he wanted to contest against his boss, he fell off from the party. He went to Labour Party. Labour Party have not won a single seat anywhere in Nigeria, whether at the assembly or at the state assembly or national assembly. He picked up that party. he conferred popularity on that party, and he defeated the PDP in that election. But the scenario is different in this election. Gbenga Edema he has picked up the ticket of NNPP. Otumba Akingboye has picked up the ticket of the SDP, and we have Barrister Shola Ebisheni has also picked up the ticket of the Labour Party. All these three people the last two people, they both contested. Akingboye contested with Ajayi in PDP. He now picked up the ticket of SDP. Then Ebisheni contested with Ajayi. He now picked up the ticket of the Labour Party. But Edema contested with Ayedatiwa in APC. He now picked up the ticket of the NNPC. What am I talking about? Mimiko never contested in the PDP before he went to the Labour Party. He knew what he wanted from the outset. He planned for it, he worked for it for years, and he actualized it. So the kind of template that Mimiko used that time is not the same kind of template that Edema is using now, or Akingboye or Ebisheni or any other person. And that is why anybody who feels that a third force can emerge in this election will be daydreaming, will just be deceiving himself, because the kind of frenzy, the kind of political climate in Ondo State now is that the two major parties are the contenders, and other people, they are just trying to show, to have some showing. Not that, in fact, Ondo indigenes, not many people will give the parties chances. We are not saying they cannot have votes. They will have votes. But I doubt if their votes could make any impact in this election. So we don't use that, what happened to Johnny Mimiko, to judge what will happen in this election. The indices are just different. And the reality is on ground that PDP and APC are the two elephants fighting in this election.
We'll watch and see, Doc. We'll watch and see. We'll all be there to watch and see how it plays out. I don't know if Franklin has rejoined us. Is Franklin there?
Yes.
Fantastic. Franklin, let's quickly allow you land on your thoughts. Earlier, you were talking about how whoever emerges from Ondo South is likely to satisfy the yearning, the political or power yearning, for that region. And now that, by extension, creates some level of stability for Ondo politics. Let's quickly allow you land on that.
Okay, so let me just say that let me just abridge it and say that based on the experiences that has really come out from virtually the two major candidates, the PDP and the PDP candidate and the APC candidate, and the impact of their perceived maltreatment as further, put them at the forefront of who comes out tops, within the this election. Don't forget that the experience of Ayedatiwa and were similar under Akeredolu, and it became more pronounced, under Ayedatiwa as a result of the perceived cabal that was driving the process. That has further, build an impact for that party and the candidates in that election, which also is propelling Abuja also to seek more people's support, and that to me has made it easier for that zone, zone to be able to get, to be able to be seen as the area where all of the parties must pick their candidate in order to check that imbalance, in order to give sense of belonging to other to them to be part of that process. I think that's what's playing out and what's driving, because even as we stand now, the perceived next zone is already preparing its people for the next election that's coming. So for me, I think the balance has been established.
It's good to know that, I mean, Ondo State is
Okay.
experiencing the balance, as it were, and that in some way, creates the stability that the polity needs, like especially for peace and for development. I'd like to move on really quick to other aspects of this election. I'd like for us to talk about process. And now, for instance, INEC has improved the process, or perhaps areas where we need to see improvements as well. Franklin, I'll stay with you. As far as Ondo election is concerned, how would you rate INEC's pre-election preparations and operations so far, and where would you like to see the electoral body invest more time and perhaps resources as the D-Day approaches, and these votes, this election culminates in the announcement of results? Very quickly.
So I would say for me, I think it's about 95% preparation from INEC based on the timetable that has been
That's a pass mark. That's a pass mark. That's an A plus.
Yes, no, but you see, the 5% element is very critical, because that's what happened on the day of the election, and that can mark everything that has been done, that we got to. As at now, it's still pre-election activities that are still going on. INEC has a timetable. I think virtually all the things on the timetable has been achieved, but taking care of election day logistics, how early racks are open, depends on how movement of materials are conveyed by the transporters. That's where you can have some level of delays. So we felt that if those little human elements in terms of election day activities can be addressed and harped on, then we think that we are going to have a beautiful election come
Fantastic.
Saturday, 16th.
Fantastic. Dr. Abimbola, if you're there, if you've rejoined us, there are other issues that I'd like for us to quickly discuss. Of course, election-related issues like the issue of votes buying and violence. Many Nigerians often attribute this to INEC's oversight. I get that, of course, INEC can assist in sensitization, perhaps educating the people on their responsibilities and what they should do. But isn't it true that these problems fall outside of INEC's direct responsibilities, and they are symptomatic of broader societal and political challenges? As we approach November 16, how much responsibility or responsibilities, should politicians bear if we're to have an election that is not monetized, and of course, if we're to have elections that are violent-free? Dr. Abimbola.
Yes, I also think that I was in Edo during the election. In Edo, under the auspices of the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room. I think one of the things I saw on the field was the use of technology in trying to address issues as it relates to vote buying.
Okay.
And what I saw was that vote was overhead, and the AFCC came and specifically went to those guys that were distributing money or trading money and got them arrested. With the impact of that, we may not want to go into all those ones. But yes, if all election management bodies sit up and look at what they needed and do what they needed to do at the right time in the right manner, then we could have some level of consciousness reorientation among the people to know that yes, people are watching. You get arrested if you are trading votes. But like the people will say, the economic situation in Nigeria has further exacerbated the need, the drive for people to start asking for money. In fact, now people are looking forward to election day to be able to trade their vote, which is unfortunate.
Quite unfortunate.
Even that, but it depends on the police and other election management or other security agents to make those things involved. INEC. And who are the people on field? INEC, coppers, maybe they are EU that comes to supervise, and that one goes from one place to the other. These are coppers that have they need to be careful, because of their and most of them are young people, and so they cannot even leave what they are doing to be chasing people. I mean, to be chasing people about not to sell votes. If issue of the only thing they could do under in normal circumstances was to have been given power to declare votes closed for a period of time when that sanity can be brought to that polling unit when the issue of vote buying it's too obvious. But I'm not sure they have that power or that courage to do that. And with your policemen or the security there, also listen to them. Those are issues that we needed to look at. But by and large, we cried when issue of vote buying was starting. But obviously, there's nothing we can do about it now because even politicians will even compromise those processes, and even the people now wants to sell their votes. And
Dr. Abimbola,
have a real
Franklin, I hear you there. I quickly want to bring in because we're totally out of time now. Let me bring in Dr. Abimbola. Dr. Abimbola, this is your, last question for you, Dr. Abimbola. Last question for you. You've heard Franklin talk about the whole issue of vote buying and violence and who bears more responsibility. Whether it's a shared responsibility as a matter of fact. As far as these issues are concerned, what's your thoughts on that? And as far as security is also concerned, what are your concerns essentially and your expectations as well?
Yes, I think for this election, like other elections, the critical stakeholders, they have a major role to play. The security, the umpire itself, that is INEC, the political parties, their candidates, their agents, and also the voters. Now, I expect what we call professionalism from the security agencies because they are the ones to maintain the peace and also to maintain law and order. I don't expect that security agencies will be saying that if somebody is selling his votes and another person buying it, if votes are being traded, that is not on their concern. No, it is against the law. They are to maintain law and order. It's part of the law and order they are to maintain. True. Security agencies should not take sides. They should be very dispassionate, objective, professional, and non-partisan. That is one.
Just like we are dispassionate and non-partisans on this program and from your analysis. Gentlemen, Doc, I'm sorry, but this is where we'll draw the curtain. We're totally out of time. Unfortunately, but of course, it's the weekend is just around the corner. I'm sure we will be having both of you in the studio, and we will continue this analysis from the eve of election night. That's when our studios officially opens there in Akure, and of course here in Abuja. Gentlemen, I'd like to appreciate you both for your interventions. Dr. Gbenga Abimbola, political analyst, dispassionate political analyst and former head of Department of Mass Communication in Adekunle Ajasin University, Okungba Akoko, and of course Franklin Oloniju, Chairman Civil Society Organizations Ondo State. Thank you both for coming on the program. It's been a delight getting your insight on some of these critical issues. Thank you so much indeed.